Good evening. Welcome to Gehenna Gaming, the place for dark stories and inclusive gaming. I'm Kyran, your storyteller for the evening, and welcome back to Bleeding Kansas, our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle based on an original chronicle for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. You can find the link to the chronicle in the Storyteller's Vault through down there in the chat. This is also a horror game, which is intended for an adult audience that will explore many dark and disturbing themes. So if you feel overwhelmed or seriously uncomfortable, be sure to take a break and come back when you feel up to it. So let's meet our vampires, beginning with our dastardly Ventru.
That's me. Hi, everybody. My name is Justice. I go by Stashmandu on the internet, and you can, tonight I'm playing Luther Vergoni, who is just the nicest person. He's a Ventru, and he's doing Ventru things.
All right. Moving on to our conniving caitiff.
Conniving? You wound me, Kyran. Hi, everyone. My name is Sia. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me making very trans, very gay art on the internet at PieSharpArt. And tonight, I'm going to be playing your beloved amnesiatic daddy diablerist Somber, who also uses they, them pronouns.
Spectacular. On to our badass Bruja.
Hey, I'm Lynn, she, they, and I am playing M, she, her. And you know, she just like wants peace, doesn't want a chaos, anything like that. Just stable times.
Absolutely. And finally, our terrific Thin Blood.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for giving me the best pronoun. Thank you, Storyteller. But hi, guys. I'm Vin at VinVoxVA on Twitter, and I'll be playing Gideon. Thin Blood.
Stupendous. All right. Well, now that we've all been introduced, let's tell a vampire story. The coterie started this night in high spirits. They'd been given permission to enter Kansas City, their allies were gaining ground in Lawrence, and they'd returned to, supposedly, their greatest place of safety, the Boss Callahan Riverboat Casino. However, as the night wore on, things grew more complicated. Lady Jessica, a ministry kindred, split her time on the boat, disrespecting Luther and enticing Somber. Courtney Nguyen, a Lawrence gangrel, petitioned M for asylum, and she and Luther were forced to argue over that particular point. And perhaps most dramatically, the torpid body of Baron Tobias was delivered to Gideon by Tobias's thin blood attendant, Oliver. And just as things seemed to be under control, the ship was assaulted by the last thing anyone could have predicted. A furious mass of muscle and rage, a werewolf. So, with an elder in the hold and a wolf on the deck, if that's not a phrase, it certainly should be, let's see how our kindred fare. So, we're going to start with Gideon, M, and Luther. You're standing on the prow of the boat, and looming over you, blood still dripping from its jaws, is the gigantic wolf-man hybrid. The entire boat is sinking slightly underneath its feet every time it takes a step. And I need to know what your intentions are for dealing with this. You did dispatch the chief of security, Wheeler, downstairs to get the fine silver, but she hasn't come back quite yet. So let's start with M. This is your element more than it is anyone else's. What is your intent?
She's gonna look at Luther and just. I don't suppose you have a way of words with this, with these as well. Otherwise, you know what's gonna happen.
I believe this may be beyond my skill set.
Well, all right. Guess we know what we have to do.
All right, what is your intent?
I'm gonna fight this werewolf.
So you're going to fight the werewolf? All right. All right, how do you intend to fight the werewolf?
You know what?
I-
How close are you to, like, the side of the boat or, like, an edge?
It's right on the prow of the boat. You can still see the massive bodies that are floating in the water directly behind it.
I am going to, first of all, going to activate prowess.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and just latch onto this and just, like, knock it over into the water.
Okay. All right, good to know. Luther, what is your intent?
Even though I just said to M that this might be beyond my control, I got one skill and I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to try and talk to this thing.
Okay. Are you using any supernatural abilities, or you're just trying to talk to it?
I think I would like to activate awe first before trying to do any sort of chitty chatting.
I will let Luther do whatever he does. In case
Alright,
that
so
doesn't
you're
work,
gonna
it's
hold-
yeah, I'm holding.
All right, and then you're just going to try and bash it off of the deck. All right,
Yeah.
Gideon, what is your intent?
Boy, howdy. If they see M trying to make like a brute force of it, they're gonna try to help M.
Okay, so you're both prepared to launch yourselves at this thing and try and knock it into the water if Luther's discussion does not go as planned. All right, Luther, you step forward. This thing is snarling and staring at you. What's your opening gambit here?
So not stepping too far forward. Let's be clear here. Just just enough. I am going to take the cordial route and welcome them to the boss Callahan and ask them if there's something that I can help them with. Hello, my name is Luther Vigoni, and this is my establishment, and I would love to welcome you in, but perhaps there's a different form you could take that might be less disruptive to the rest of the guests.
There's a low growling that comes somewhere in the vicinity of this thing's chest, and it makes the entire boat vibrate. And it says in a very deep, scratchy voice, "I've drawn your bath, Camarilla scum. Now bathe in the blood that has been shed this night." And with that, it's going to lunge at you. Which, of course, sets off the prepared actions of your friends. So you're both trying to take this thing on physically and knock it backward. That's going to be strength plus brawl.
Okay.
And I have a lot of dice to roll here.
Yeah, probably. What is that? That is 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's a good number. I have 3, but I think I'll use a willpower. I feel like
3 successes.
Yeah.
Gideon, what are you looking at?
One success.
Jesus.
Only one.
Okay.
Out of 2 dice.
So that's 5.
Okay, 5. So that's 6 between the two of you. All right. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
Ugh.
successes. So, as you lunge at this thing, it not only knocks you both backward onto your backs on the boat, shaking the whole thing in the process. It also takes a step forward and raises up its razor-sharp claws and is going to dig them directly into M, because she's the one who hit the hardest. So, M, if you wouldn't mind giving me dexterity plus athletics to try and get out of the way.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Reflexes for guns. That's right. 3.
3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right, you're very lucky that he only rolled equal to you. However, a tie does go to the active combatant, which means that it goes to him. So you are going to take 3 non-halved superficial damage from those claws. So as he cuts into you, you stagger
And that's just
backward.
off the health
the end
thing,
of that.
right? Okay.
Yes. And he brings the bloodied claws to his lips and desperately tries to suck down what he's drawn out of your veins. So that's the end of that first round of combat. It's at this point that you hear a pounding on the stairs behind you, and you see Wheeler rush around to the top, holding a case filled with silverware. And she takes a quick look around, and she says, "I brought the silver, and also, Mr. Gideon, someone downstairs wants to talk to you."
Not the time.
Now?
He said it's extremely urgent, and by the look of it, it is.
If we're going to be completely fair, this was never a fight I was equipped with, and like they're already like apologizing and backing, like they're absconding, if you will.
M is
Great.
kind of like giving, not saying, but giving you like the what the fuck, what the fuck look like.
The patented what the fuck eyes. All right. So as Gideon races down the stairs, and Luther and Lynn prepare to take on a werewolf by themselves, we're going to pivot over to Somber. Now, Somber, the wood trembled underneath your feet and exploded as whatever that thing was catapulted itself straight through the wood and crashed on top of you. And as your head slams into the wood on top of you, behind you, causing a sizable dent in the immaculately polished floors of the Blas Callahan, everything goes black for a minute. And when you open your eyes, you're no longer staring up into a clear field of stars, but rather at the tops of dozens and dozens of very tall trees. And as you examine your surroundings, that wolf thing is gone, but you are surrounded on the ground level by the half-disintegrated outlines of buildings. And you seem to be in the middle of an intersection that's been built in the middle of a forest. There's roads, there's a broken fire hydrant, there's burning cars all around you, and half-constructed buildings in every direction. And you're no longer wearing your preferred attire, but instead a black jumpsuit.
Somber takes a look around themselves, kind of pats their throat a little bit, looks down, notices that they do not have enough midriff showing. Unfortunate, we can get to that a little bit later. They blink and offhandedly kind of say to themselves, I hate when I forget. Where the fuck? Do I recognize this place at all?
Something about it seems familiar. And as you're taking in more of your surroundings, you notice that this area is entirely fenced in with a very high chain link fence. And you can see in the distance the glimmering lights of buildings that seem to be set just beyond the illuminated area that you're standing in.
Somber does like a 360 around them as they notice the chain link fence, the decimated buildings, the trees. It seems like nobody has lived here in a really long time, but it's this odd fenced off intersection. Can I smell anyone or see anyone?
Give me a wits plus awareness check.
Plus awareness. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm not so bad at that. Let's see. 2 successes.
All right. You inhale and you can... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, it's double 10s that are crit, right? I got double 9s, but I don't think that matters. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Only double 10s, yes. You inhale and you can smell the motor oil. You can hear the burning of the crackling of the flames. And you can smell blood, human blood, and lots of it just beyond the light. The area that you are standing in, you realize, is actually illuminated by floodlights that have been positioned in the trees around you. You can't make out a lot of detail beyond those floodlights, but you do hear the crackling of static. And it's at that point that a voice comes over what sounds like a loudspeaker system. Initiating trial 47. First Light Officer Julian Drever overseeing and Cardinal Richard Hogan advising. Subject Thorn 93 has been placed in its natural habitat to gauge its full combat capabilities. On the advice of the Cardinal, we will once again attempt to destroy Subject Thorn 93, now using a canine subject that has been fed the blood of Jerusalem 03. This has substantially increased the canine's deadliness. Begin trial. And then the growling form of the creature that you left behind on the boss Callahan slowly begins to emerge into the floodlit area. And as you look around into this, basically a diorama of a city block that you've been dropped into, I have to ask what your intention is.
Oh, Somber backs up like 2 feet, right? Luther, not fucking funny. Not funny, Luther. Not funny. And then I think something like clicks almost. And those feral weapons just come, I think, right out of their hands. These like long black talons curve up and out. And they are going to defend themselves with everything that they have.
All right. You deploy your feral weapons. I do believe that requires a rouse check. So if you wouldn't mind checking to see if you get hungrier.
Absolutely. I rolled a 5.
You do indeed get hungrier. The beast rises up in your mind, and you can hear the sound of Farrah Snow, the woman who was consumed by Corey, who you then took off of his plate, so to speak, the former Seneschal of Lawrence, who whispers in your mind, well, this is an interesting little corner of your psyche. I don't think I've been here before.
Shut up, no time.
Oh, I'd say so. That thing doesn't look like it's cuddly. So, you deploy your feral weapons. This thing is going to charge at you and try to tear you apart at the same time that you try to tear it apart. So, let's see strength plus brawl.
I crit.
Ho-ho!
I got double 10s, and I have 7 successes with the crit.
All right. Now, is one of those 10s on a blood die?
It is not.
Okay, so just a normal crit. All right, so what was the total?
7 successes with a crit.
7 successes. All right, this thing lunges at you, its jaws extended. You manage to easily sidestep it and drive your claws into its side. You hear a fight as it falls to the side and turns around. There's blood gushing out of its side, but it doesn't seem to notice, and you can see the wound starting to knit closed. Not fully, but it's definitely regained some of its resilience. The person comes on the PA again and says, "Subject proves resilient despite medication. It was necessary to tranquilize subject earlier after it attempted to intercede with the extraction of the vitae from subject Jerusalem 03. Subject seems unaffected. Continue trial."
I have a fucking name, by the way.
Subject continues to attempt to communicate with test givers. And we're going to pivot away from Somber, back over to Luther and Lynn. What's the plan, Stan? You're muted, Justice.
Thank you. I had not actually formed a sentence yet. I was still so currently claws are stuck in M.
Yes.
Okay. I am going to try something. I'm gonna just try and hit him with a cloud memory, just to confuse him, maybe. Make them lose the last few minutes and put them off their game and give Wheeler an opportunity to come up with the silver.
Very interesting. All right. So this is a contested check, obviously. It doesn't want to have its memory clouded. So it looks like that's going to be your charisma plus dominate versus its wits and resolve.
And since I have awe activated, can I have my presence on that as well?
I'll allow it, yes. That was not a confident intake of breath.
No.
What is the result, pray tell?
4 successes.
Oh. It would be very impressive if you were facing down something other than a werewolf. Let's see here. Plus resolve. Are you wanting to burn any willpower to increase your roll, or are you happy with the
yes,
result?
no, I absolutely do. Yeah, I'm gonna roll 3 more dice, or well, re-roll 3 of my dice. That seems like a okay. That's now if I had a crit on my previous, now I've re-rolled and I have a crit again. That's
Every combination of 2 10s gets you an extra 2 successes.
I have 7 successes total plus the crit.
Okay.
Oh.
Are any of
And-
the 10s?
Yep,
Are
one
any-
of the crits is on my blood die,
Okay.
or my hunger die.
All right. So,
Is that a total of 9?
mhm. You feel the beast rising in you, and your Ventrue blood is not going to be satisfied with merely pulling this off. He says, "This is it. This is your chance. People's legends are built on stories. This is how you finally overshadow Crawley. You need to get a taste of that thing." So you are going to suffer a 2-die penalty to all rolls until you have tasted that werewolf's blood.
With that in mind, with the clause in M, I'm gonna say forget to activate the cloud memory, hoping that this
Okay.
sort of stuns him, and I'm going right for his throat with fangs extended.
All right. He clutches at his head, howling and screaming. The thing that he calls out over and over again is, "Master! Master! Where are you? Where am I?" And I will take away 2 of his physical dice to compensate for that as you go for the neck. And we'll be with you, M, and find out how you are doing throughout all this in just a moment. So you're going at him. You're going at him with your fangs. This is going to be strength plus brawl.
That's not great. That's not great. Two out of 2.
Okay. Well, the bad news is, his dice pool was 10. The good news is, I also only rolled 2 successes on that. So, you launch yourself forward, and you actually manage to sink your fangs into the werewolf. You have never tasted anything like this. It's like it's like what you imagine if a car could feel. It's probably what a car would feel like getting filled with gasoline. Every sip feels like an explosion going through your veins. You feel like you could do anything, convince anyone of anything, accomplish any feat of physical strength. When you look up at the moon, it seems like the easiest thing in the world to reach up there and pluck it out of the sky. You have never felt this before, and you never want to stop feeling it. And your beast is howling with glee. That is certainly enough to satiate 1 point of hunger. And you're going to be feeling this for a minute.
Great.
M, what are you doing?
This werewolf has me pinned, correct?
Yes.
I think she is just going to grab and dig her fingers in like the inner part of this werewolf's wrist and just like dig. And she is going to snarl and she's going to say, "I sure as fuck am not going to die with you thinking I'm a cam." And then she's just going to just kind of like dig in and just try and pull.
You're going to try and pull its arm apart.
Yeah, and
Is
that's
that
what
what
she has. Yeah. Like that's the
All
only
right.
leverage she has. But
All right, that's going to be strength plus athletics. He's not really going to oppose it, so I'm just going to set a difficulty, which will be
Okay.
mine to know and yours to find out.
What was it? Prowess only comes in if I hit. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Strength and athletics. Athletics is pretty okay. Alright. Athletics. Alright. 6. Ooh, I got 1, but I'm gonna willpower again. Ugh. This seems like that's a later M problem. It's a later M problem not being.
All right, burning willpower. You can reroll 3.
1, 2. It's 4. Yeah.
4. That is exactly the number that you needed. So, it's one of the more difficult things that you've ever had to do. It's like it'd be like grabbing hold of a stop sign and just trying to pull it apart with your bare hands. But you do it. You feel the tendons snap. You feel your thumb go in and touch bone. And this thing rears back, howling up at the moon, confused, furious, and very, very ready to tear you to pieces.
Yeah. So yeah, M's just gonna get up, just take off her jacket, and do the same. You know what? She's gonna do the same thing. She's gonna get her hand and just like lick and look at it.
All right. as soon as that blood touches your lips, you didn't get a full drag on it like Luther did, so you're not going to satiate hunger, but you feel that same burst of energy. Like if you started running right now, you feel like you could run straight through this werewolf and clear through to Boston if you kept your legs going. You've never felt so powerful, and suddenly all of this stuff doesn't seem that intimidating. But the werewolf will have its say. So, it's still recovering from your cloud memory, still trying to get its bearings, so it is going to have a penalty. But it is going to charge Luther, because he's the one that got the fangs in. Gonna take off a few dice off the top, because it also has a very badly injured arm. But we're still looking at a pretty substantial die pool here. So, Luther, are you going to try and trade blows with this thing or get out of the way?
Yeah, no. I am going to. Do I get any extra dice for being high on light and blood?
Every physical roll, I'm going to bump you 2 extra dice.
No, I'm not going to go toe to toe. I'm going to try and like bullfighter style weave out of the way.
All right. So you can give me a dexterity plus athletics check.
Oops. 3 successes.
3 successes. That would be impressive, but unfortunately, he crit you.
Sure. Great. That sounds right.
So that's going. Oh my god. So many successes.
Want to hear that.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
When I said we
5,
all crit, I did
6,
not mean you, Kyran. I did not.
9, 10. 10 successes. So that's a good amount. You're going to take 7 non-halved superficial damage.
And I don't have that many healths.
You've been knocked into torpor.
Yep.
As much as that blood had you running, as soon as those claws enter your stomach, you suddenly remember all of that fear. You feel the blood draining out of you, and it's like someone has just taken all hope out of your body at once. You slump to the ground and hit the wood. Luther has gone into torpor.
Okay. Good.
So,
Good.
we're going to pivot over to Gideon. Gideon, I assume you're racing down to the hold.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When you arrive there, you hear the sound of snarling and fighting directly above you, and what sounds like somber grunting and punching. And you also hear the snarls of a wolf. However, that's not what is holding your attention. There is a massive hole in the side of the boss Callahan, evidently made by when the wolf jumped straight through the wood. However, the water's not coming in. The bodies that were floating in the water are packed in against the hole, but not in a natural way. They're melting, reforming, coagulating into each other, and making some kind of new substance that is holding back the water. And standing before it, you see Oliver, who's down on one knee with his hands extended out, his face screwed up in concentration.
I don't know how to express this professionally, so I'm just going to say it flat out. What the fuck?
Thin blood alchemy! You should learn it sometime. Listen, I don't have time to explain the process. This thing isn't going to hold unless I can get it to settle. I need phlegmatic blood. Now.
Phlegmatic, okay. Oh, fuck me. Fuck. And I'm like, they're stomping off.
So you have to
Now-
find someone on this boat that is perfectly calm about this situation.
Cool. I guess Gideon is going to go back to like the main floor and scan the passengers. Is there anybody like
Making your way
almost
up.
there?
All of the passengers have been concentrated on the third floor, the high roller floor. And as you make your way up there, it is utter chaos. Wheelers, security troops are doing their best to keep everybody in line. The barking orders, they haven't drawn their guns, but they are definitely visible. They're saying, you're all going to get complimentary chips, you're going to get free drinks. Everyone just has to hold on for a moment. But people are screaming at the top of their lungs, we're sinking! We're all dead! You see the assistant district attorney vomiting onto the floor, evidently extremely concerned about this whole situation. There is, go ahead and give me a wits plus awareness check to try and spot somebody who is not freaking out about this.
All right, finally my dice pool. That is a willpower reroll. That's what it is. Let's see. Okay, that is 4 successes.
All right. Based on what you're looking around here, every single mortal in here, even the security officers, are absolutely terrified. It would probably take something like Luther's dominate ability to get anyone to calm down. However, there is one person who is sitting completely serenely and unbothered by any of this, and that is Jessica, who is still sitting at the blackjack table, continuing to play, despite the fact that her dealer keeps looking over his shoulder, wondering if he should be trying to get off the friggin' boat.
Of course. So does the blood necessarily have to be kind? Can it be kindred?
All he said was phlegmatic blood, so presumably any kind of blood.
Okay. And they're going to very directly stride over to Jessica.
She looks up and she says, "Oh, the thin blood. Want to join me for a game? I haven't lost yet."
I bet you haven't, ma'am. I have an odd request amongst everything, if you would indulge me.
Naturally.
I'm going to keep this very curt, and they're going to get a little closer just so they can just whisper, "I require your blood."
So intimate. I don't even know if I've learned your name yet.
They're going to let that one slide, given the direness of the situation. Perhaps you can learn it on the way.
Well, I mean, I don't give things like that away for free, you understand.
Of course. You're a businesswoman, clearly, as am I.
Charming. Well, then perhaps, business person to business person, we can make an arrangement. Are you willing to pay for what I've got in my veins? It doesn't sound like you've got a lot of time to negotiate.
And you're absolutely right, which makes this very lucrative for you. I am willing to pay.
Indeed, indeed. Very well then, I will oblige you, Gideon. She smiles, showing her fangs. And you don't think it was at all an accident that she said your name just then.
Mm-hmm.
She reaches into her dress and pulls out 2 vials. She says, "One of these contains my blood. That's this one. I like to have it on hand just in case. My requirement is that you have Somber drink this one. I don't really care how you get them to drink it. I don't care if you put it in someone and have them suck it out. I don't care if you tell them it's an energy drink. Just get them to drink it. And once you've done that, you're to find a way to convince Somber to make a visit to the Kansas side of Kansas City. For someone as industrious as yourself, as well-blooded as yourself.
We're gonna purse their lips at that shit.
I know you come from a long line of business people.
And if you know that, you also know that time is money. So would you please surrender the vials?
You accept my terms?
Of course I do.
Very well. Make sure that Somber drinks this one. It's marked with a V.
Of course.
And here's mine. And I hope to see you soon.
They take an unneeded sigh and book it.
All right. Speaking of Somber, let's pivot back over to them. So, Somber, you're still standing in the midst of the wreckage. The wolf is approaching you once again, blood dripping from its mouth, along with a great deal of white foam. And the guy comes on the PA again. We're going to be initiating complication 5. And you hear an explosion, and the building next to you starts to collapse into the center of the intersection, threatening to crush you. At the same moment that the wolf lunges for your neck. So, how do you want to deal with this problem?
First, Somber goes, 5. How many of those do you fucking... And then they notice that the building is coming down, and the explosion goes off. How do I want to try to get out of this? I think Somber is going to try to intercept their arm with the wolf's mouth, so that it will, like, they're going to allow it to bite them and make contact, but almost use that to, like, get themselves out of the way of this building, but drag the wolf into danger if it's attached to them. And they can almost, like, take the bite, but then have maneuverability of its body to crush it.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right. With that kind of, with the necessary timing and awareness that that's going to require, I'm going to say that that's going to be wits plus athletics.
Three successes.
3 successes. All right. Let's see how the wolf does. All right. It's painful. You need to allow the wolf to do it. And you are going to suffer 2 superficial willpower damage as its fangs dig into your arm. And as you yank it backward, the building collapses on top of it. It stiffens, and then you feel it go still. You hear
fuck
over the,
you!
PA.
The fuck?
Says, trial number 47 concluded. Result, failure. However, new information about the asset's maneuverability has been determined. Recommendation, subject Thorn 93 should be once again tranquilized and returned to... And then the line goes dead, and you hear the sound of gunfire.
I'll show you what a fucking asset is, you... And Somber, like, quiets because they want to hear what's going on as much as possible through what I assume are, like, padded walls and such on.
You seem to be outside. You're in the middle of a forest where they've built a intersection.
Oh, well, I am taking every opportunity in that case. Somber does like really quick calculation, right? Like white woman math me really fast. And then I think they like glance, and this building crumpled down, right? So there's this big pile of rubble.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to use the rubble like as a ramp to get up higher so they can jump over one of the fences, or at least like vault off of it to get up as high as they can.
All right. That'll be athletics plus strength. Very straightforward.
Three successes again.
3 successes again. All right. You just managed to vault over the fence. You catch yourself going over the barbed wire, and it slashes your leg a little bit. You're going to take another point of superficial willpower damage.
So what exactly is superficial willpower damage?
So you have your willpower tracker, right? The same way that you've got your health. So just put a slash through your the willpower stuff, the same way that if you took damage, superficial health damage, you just put a slash through it. If you fill up your willpower track with that, then you start Xing them out. If it gets to 0, you go into torpor.
Understood.
You hit the ground, and you hear a woman's voice scream, "There! She's over there! Baby, I'm coming!" And then we're going to pivot over to M and Luther. Or rather, M and Luther's bleeding out body. So, M, what's the plan now? This thing looks like it wants to go in and finish off Luther.
Well, we can't have that happen. She'll position herself between Luther and this werewolf.
Okay. So you're how are you going to attempt to stop it from doing this to him again?
She's gonna wait for it to kind of like lunge, and if she's in a way, she's gonna just try and like just slam its head into like the deck.
All right. So you're just going to try and intercept it and use its momentum against it.
Yeah.
Let's do dexterity plus athletics in that case.
Okay. Three successes.
All right. So, I will give you an option here.
Mm-hmm.
You can fail, and it'll get to Luther, or you can succeed at a cost.
Ooh. At a cost. That sounds fun.
All right. You know how you have 2 arms? You only have 1 now. You manage to maneuver it into the deck of the ship, smashing it downward, using its own momentum against it. But your arm got caught in its jaws, and it pulls it off of your body as it stumbles away from Luther's body, disoriented and confused. You are going to take 3 points of superficial damage. Non-halved.
Okay. Still up. Messed up.
Storyteller.
Just for reference.
Mm-hmm.
How far are we away from like where we sent everybody?
How do you mean? Like where the people are?
Yeah. Are we close,
you could
or
get,
are we a couple decks?
They're on the ground. You're on the first floor,
Okay.
essentially, and they're on the 3rd. So you could get to them. You could get to them if you needed to.
No. I will say, how... Emma's very, very, very angry right now. She is... You know what? Frenzy?
What's that?
I can frenzy at this. You know what? This is bad. Things are bad. I got my arm ripped off.
Yeah, you know what? Let's roll for frenzy.
All
Go
right.
ahead and give me a willpower roll.
Yeah. The willpower, and is it like a third of the?
Willpower and a third of your humanity. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's not a lot, but that's 3 successes.
3 successes. All right. You hear the beast screaming in your mind. Tear this thing to shreds. You need revenge. If people sense weakness, that's when they come for you. But you're able to push it to the side, and you remain in control, despite the fact that you've just gone through quite a lot. So, now we're going to pivot over to Gideon.
Real quick, storyteller.
Yes.
Because I had just sucked up a bunch of vampire blood, am I potentially actively healing while that courses through my veins? Or sorry, werewolf blood?
It will make you more resilient to being woken up from torpor, but you will need blood of a sufficient potency.
Mm-hmm.
What is your blood potency?
Mine is low. Where is it? One dotted blood potency.
All right, so blood potency of 1 will be able to wake you up. Normally, you would need to be torpid for a while before anyone could wake you up, but with that vampire blood in you, it's basically like adrenaline waiting to be activated. So if somebody gave you some blood, you might be able to get back up.
There's an entire armful of it somewhere. I don't know where the arm went.
Gideon, what's going on your side of the boat?
He is racing down to the bottom to give Oliver that vial, the correct vial.
All right. You arrive, you see that water has started to pool in the bottom of the boat. He's having a harder and harder time keeping the flesh liquefied and holding it in place. It says, "You brought it?"
I got it.
All right. Now, I didn't want to mention this because this is the hard part, but I don't just need phlegmatic blood.
Okay, what other blood do you need?
It's not blood. I'm going to need a kindred eyeball. Now, my grandfather is in the crate there. If you want to grab one from him, I would offer to make a donation, but I kind of need to keep my concentration at the moment. So,
lucky for you, I don't want to see any of this.
what are you going to do?
You know, as easily as they said that they're going to rip their eyeball out.
All right. You dig your fingers into the socket and rip the jelly from your face. I'm definitely going to need a resolve plus, let's see. Definitely get ready to roll your resolve. I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make this resolve plus. Yeah, let's just make this raw resolve. I don't think there's any skill that could really apply here. So just whatever your resolve is.
Okay, big money, no whammies. 3 successes.
You keep your cool. You rip it out from your skull. You're going to take a point of damage. But you have it there in your hand along with the vial of Jessica's phlegmatic blood.
And in the words of Master Philosopher, Courage the Cowardly Dog, the things I do for love. And they're going to hand it over.
It says, you've got to mix the two of them together and smear them on the wall.
All right. Just through gritted teeth. And they do as instructed.
All right. When the substance has gone across the wall, it solidifies. A solid seemingly sturdy wall of flesh has been attached to the bottom of the boss Callahan, holding back the water. And with that, Oliver slumps against the crate that's holding his grandfather and passes out. Not fully into torpor, but you think that he is dead to the world, all things considered.
Well, that's perfect. I'm going to do something extra while they're both out.
Please do.
Gideon is going to find their luggage, or what they use to carry themselves onto the boss Callahan for the first time, and put them both in his luggage.
Oh, okay. So you're stowing them away. All right, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
You do so. Somber, back in your neck of the woods. So as you pull yourself up from the ground after vaulting over that fence, you see a bunch of people in military uniforms racing towards you. But as they get closer, you see that these uniforms are not on them in a prim and proper way. They look like they were hastily pulled on. A lot of stuff doesn't fit, and it's kind of a slapdash combination of different things. And they're all holding guns. The person in the lead rushes forward, and she says, "Oh, thank God you're all right. I told you we were going to get out of here. We're home free, baby. We're going to start running, and we're not stopping until we get to Missouri."
Who the fuck are you?
She says, "Somber, you know me." And she pulls off her helmet, but there is no face there. It's just a blank void. And everything freezes. And as you sit there staring at this blank face, there's no features of it at all. It literally looks like a face made out of paper. Someone strides out from behind them, wearing very stylish looking clothes. It's a woman, long black curly hair, brown skin. Looks like she could have just been going out clubbing or something like that. And she says, "Finally, a chink in the armor. I knew there had to be some sort of benefit to hanging out inside your brain."
Who the fuck are you? What the fuck is this?
"It's me, darling. It's Farah. And believe
You
me,
again.
I'm just as surprised to end up here as you are. I don't know what brought you back to this memory or why your body reacted so aggressively to it. But I intend to take advantage of it while I'm here."
Oh, you think you'll be taking advantage of the situation? Well, I don't really know what the fuck is going on. But the only one who pilots me is me.
Now we see some of the pitfalls in letting people joyride around in your brain. You thought this was a prison, but I'm going to turn it into a workshop. Do you want to know who she is? She points at the faceless woman.
Somber's eyes do slide over for slightly too long and like rest on her faceless face before jumping back.
That's what I thought. Yes, clearly someone very important to you, and you don't have the faintest recollection of who she is, or was. She could be dead for all you know. I know, of course. And I'm going to be holding on to this little corner of your psyche until you give me what I want.
And what exactly is it that you want?
To walk on my own two legs again. Or someone's, anyway. You're going to find me a new body, darling.
A new body.
Yes. You're going to find me a blood sorcerer, a good one. One that knows how to take a consciousness out of another consciousness. And you're going to find me a, if not willing, suitable vessel. And whatever this blood sorcerer says you have to do to get me into it, you're going to do it. And once I prance off into my new abode, I'll leave behind this little nugget just for you, so you can find out who cared about you enough to shoot up a government facility.
And what if I just crawled inside my own mind, stuck my finger in my ear, and itched until I pulled you out myself?
Well, there's all sorts of things that I could take down with me on the way out. Your new friends, your new sense of self, any hope you have of recovering what you lost. Normally, you would have had the ball game here, sweetheart. You would have been able to keep me in here indefinitely. I wouldn't have been able to do anything, but you have a very fragile psyche at the moment. So I have a little bit more to play with.
Somber's silent for a long moment because they do not like being backed into a corner. Fine. If it's necromancy you want, it's necromancy you'll get. Put me back.
Stupendous. Now you find me that blood sorcerer, and I want a good one, not some hack hedge wizard. I imagine things are a bit chaotic back in the land of the living. Better get back there. And with that, you open your eyes once again on the boss Callahan, and the dead body of the wolf is lying in front of you.
Yep, Somber reels there for half a second. They reel there for half a second.
Going back to Luther and Lynn, the dynamic duo. Lynn, you're staring down the werewolf as it rights itself. It's still confused because of what Luther did to it, but it seems like it's ready to get back into the fray.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear something from the shore. And it stops dead in its tracks. And slowly turns toward the shore of the river. And you see a man wading out into the river. Long, bushy black hair and a beard, pale white skin, tattoos covering his bare chest. The only thing is what he's wearing is a long pair of billowing pants, and he's got a guitar strapped to his back. And he's reaching out his hands. With a look of utter ecstasy on his face, he continues the whistling signal. And the beast bows its head, turns towards you, and says, "Bathe in the blood." And it's going to dive into the water and begin swimming away from the boss Callahan. Do you intend to give chase, or are you going to let it go?
Just looks at, it's just like, what the fuck? And she looks at Luther. It's like, oh, shit. I mean, this might not be the only one. So I think once this goes, like, I think she's going to get Luther, just kind of like, she still has the potent stuff. She's gonna just like, over the shoulder, and then just like look for everyone else.
All right. You see Somber coming around the corner. A little worse for wear, but it looks like they actually managed to not get hit too many times in whatever fight they were fighting. Somber, M doesn't look good. She's missing an arm, and Luther is unconscious on her back with a hole in his stomach.
What the fuck? What the fuck kind of dog was that?
Wasn't a fucking dog. It was a fucking werewolf.
You look fucked up. He looks even
Yeah,
more
it
fucked
played
up.
fetch with my fucking arm. Did a hell of a number on Luther. I think he's still here.
And
What
I
about
think
you?
something in Somber's expression shifts a little bit. Like an eyebrow raises. Still here.
He gets on my nerves from time to time, but I don't wish that on him.
Fine.
Anyways, do you really want Luther like in here? She'll. I think she's positioned with oh.
It wasn't for me, Em. Wasn't for me.
Gideon, I think at this point you would probably have made it up from the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speak of the kindred.
Yeah, what was so important that you had to go below deck? Exactly.
Well, I had to take care of something. And they do gesture to the missing eyeball.
Oh, yes, that's correct. Gideon seems to have lost an eyeball.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Okay, so while I was busy having a hallucination dance on the other side of the deck, all of you were dying and losing limbs. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
any more of them out there? Exactly.
Summer turns to look, and technically I think they still have Eyes of the Beast active. If there are any further details they can pick out as they peer out over the deck.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You had Eyes of the Beast active when you went unconscious. As you look out, you can see that the Boss Callahan is very slowly moving down the river under its own power. There's still a lot of bodies in the water, although fewer than there were before. You don't know where some of them went. But you'd estimate of the about 30 that you saw before, there's probably about 18 now. You're probably about 10 minutes out of actually entering the Kansas City limits.
Well, I certainly don't want to explain to everyone what the hell's going on. Do you know of any? We need to wake him up.
I'll take care of it.
Well, Gideon, your blood is not quite potent enough to wake Luther up.
Oh yeah,
He's
they're
going-
definitely not gonna try their own blood. They're gonna probably have to go around, get some people, collect some blood.
He needs kindred vitae.
It's a dread. Fantastic. We have 2 Diablerists with the right amount of blood, I hope.
Yeah.
Just a dash should be enough to wake him up, but it's going to have to be a blood potency 1 or higher.
Oh.
Who's the lucky donor? Or are you
Guess.
just going to leave him like this?
I mean,
That is an option out of character.
I really don't want to deal with these mortals, so I guess he has to. And Somber bites their own palm, like deep. Kind of pulls it back. Inelegantly kind of grabs the nicely coiffed back of Luther's head, pulls his face up a little bit and puts their wrist up to it. Have a sip, babes.
All right, Luther. In some dark corner of your mind where your consciousness still lives despite the rest of your body being very thoroughly dead, you're experiencing a memory of the day that you sent your daughter off to college. And the complex cocktail of emotions that you felt on that day, knowing all the things that you weren't telling her, is amplified even more dramatically by the werewolf blood that is keeping your consciousness stable throughout this. As the blood touches your lips, it's an interesting flavor. Something that you can't put any kind of finger on. It defies description. It's almost like the flavor of no flavor. But it's enough. The potency is sufficient. You open your eyes. Somber is standing over you.
Did I fall
Good morning,
asleep?
sunshine.
I think I'm gonna need a new suit.
And I think that is the perfect moment to take our break. So, thanks again to our sponsors. Take a look at the chat for links, and we will be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Producer Nick here. Thank you for watching Bleeding Kansas. Please stay tuned for a special preview of our upcoming sequel to Rites on the Holy Mountain, Cyborg. If you want to check out the source material, you can head to DriveThruRPG to pick up Bleeding Kansas from our very own Storyteller Kyran. Link in the description below. If you're enjoying this program today, consider subscribing to Gehenna Gaming to get up to date with all our latest actual play series.
Welcome back to Bleeding Kansas. So good to see you all here. A quick reminder that we do explore very intense themes in this game. If you were here for the first half, you just saw somebody's eyeball get ripped out, so that should give you a sense of the kind of stuff we're going to be dealing with. So just make sure that if you start to get overwhelmed, you take a step back and you come back. All right, so as we resume, Luther, you have regained consciousness. Wheeler takes a step out of the main cabin, still holding the fine silver, which never actually got used. It was a good thought, but it did not end up being included. The beast can certainly throw your plans off the tracks. And she says, "Sir, what's the situation here? I need to know what instructions to give my troops."
Let's keep everyone contained for just a moment more and get a few folks out here to clean, trusted folks to clean this deck off. Send a couple rounds on the house, get them all nice and intoxicated, so maybe they're less likely to remember the things that are going on here.
I'll
Luther,
do my
darling.
best.
Yes.
There's a hole in the deck over there, and a really big dog. I took care of it, though.
The dog is still there, or you
It's
took-
dead! I'll go take care of it now.
Yes, just over the side is fine. Just don't get shot. Just don't get seen.
Yeah, join the rest of the bodies over the side.
Yes, wet floor signs and put a sheet down over the holes. Is there anything else we're missing?
Can I
Your
borrow your
arm.
jacket? Yes, I was going to say that that thing fucked up my jacket, and I can't really be walking around like this.
My jacket, it isn't exactly clean, but yes.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's a worry for me right now. Also, I should probably go look for it, I think. I don't know if it ate it or whatever.
Yes.
Also, good job for getting in that thing's face. I didn't think you had it in you.
I didn't either. But gods, it tasted good.
Part of me
We
is
have a
sad that it
situation.
left.
I need to go deal with the hole in my stomach. I will go to my office and change, and I will meet you all back on the main deck. Wheeler, please do not allow anybody to leave yet. Let them know we are almost to Kansas City, and give $100 to everyone for gambling and free drinks for the rest of the night.
Will do, sir. I'll send down the people that I trust the most to clean the place up. And she takes a few steps forward as if she's just examining the side of the boat and the overall damage. And she's going to whisper in your ear, Gideon, we need to talk as soon as you're available. And then turn on her heel and make her way into the main structure. So, Wheeler's troops set to work, cleaning this place up as best they can. The hole in the ship is going to be a little harder to cover up, but per your instructions, they put down sheets and several signs warning people not to go into the area. And you think that you've probably got about 10 minutes before you arrive in Kansas City.
Somber, if I could have...
Sorry, I couldn't hear that last bit.
I require a conversation with you, something civil. I don't know if you know what that word means.
Oh, you wound me, darling. Follow me. We can dine and dash.
Actually follow me. And they start walking to their room.
All right. Are you going to follow them, Somber?
Somber follows, rather interested. More interested than they are in draining that wolf of all its blood at this point.
All right. You make your way to Gideon's room. What does your room look like, Gideon?
It's pretty sparse. It's just the necessities, just to stay focused and not get attached to anything on this boat. So once they're inside, they're just going to close the door, not necessarily lock it, because who's going to come in here anytime soon? First of all, I'm satisfied that you're alive. But
satisfied? That's pretty much the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Listen, I know how it gets after the rush of battle, but if you wanted to kiss me, you could have just said so.
And that's why I will never compliment you again. Listen, I had to... And they paused because, fuck me, I had to do some dealings to keep this boat afloat. And since I do care about you to some capacity, I don't feel like tricking you. And
oh, you said you weren't going to compliment me anymore.
Listen, I'm very disoriented. Let me finish talking, please. And they're going to give Somber the vial. And take you to the the Kansas side of Kansas City. I just don't want you to come in blinded. You can drink it, you don't have to, but something is going on.
Something going on with Jessica. And Somber kind of takes the vial and shifts it around. Is it familiar at all? Or like, would I know what it is?
It seems to be blood. Do you have any dots in occult?
Nope.
And I don't believe you have any chance of really knowing what this is. Doesn't seem familiar. It does have a V cut into the cork, but that's really the only thing that would distinguish it from any other normal vial of blood.
You say that as though I see so many normal vials of blood, which maybe I do. Somber kind of tips it and then tucks it into their like shirt pocket. I appreciate that, Gideon. Thank you.
Don't mention it. Literally, please don't mention it. And they go to the door and hold it open for Somber.
I just sat down.
You have your own room.
But I like yours.
I bet you do.
Fine. See you later.
But
Uh,
I didn't mean to bottom line. As they cross the threshold for the door, if I wanted to kiss you, I would ask. I am a gentleman.
that you are. See you later, Gideon. They tap their eye a little bit, wink, and start walking back down the hallway.
All right. You hear in your mind, Somber, I'm very fond of them as well. Maybe you could put me in them.
Oh, you really think that you're just gonna get the pick of the lot? Not my coterie, darling. Sorry.
Well, tick-tock, tick-tock. I might just destroy the memory to amuse myself if you take too long to find me a blood sorcerer.
Oh, and then ruin any chance that I might keep you alive after I get you in that little body of yours? I don't think so.
We seem to have reached an impasse. We'll see how long that lasts. All right. Does anyone else have business they wish to attend to on board Boss Callahan before it arrives?
I do want to drink that wolf to maybe lower my hunger a little bit.
All right.
Do I know that there's a giant hole covering in the side of the boat with flesh covering it?
No one has told you that yet.
All right, ignorance is bliss. Nope, I'm gonna go back to my room and change, and get presentable, and hopefully the deck looks okay for when we come into port and everybody can depart. But otherwise, I'm really just trying to recover.
Okay. Does anyone wish to heal any of the damage that they've taken?
Yes.
Okay. Superficial damage, it's very simple. You just have to roll 1d10. If you get lower than a 6, you get hunger. If you get higher, you don't. Our aggravated damage is a little bit more complicated. You can only try and heal 1 per night, and you have to roll 3 checks for each point of aggravated damage that you want to heal. So, the process of healing aggravated damage can set off your beast in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, who's got damage they want to heal? All right. We'll start with Gideon. Gideon, you want your eye back? How many points of superficial damage do you have?
Just 1, and I failed the roll, so.
All right. You do get hungrier, but your eye reconfigures itself inside of its socket. It might feel a little misshapen at first, but it'll eventually adapt to the contours of your skull. All right, M.
Mm-hmm.
Did your you took mainly superficial damage during that fight? Did it spill over into aggravated damage?
That's once it goes past the first. No.
Okay, well, in that case, would you like to heal your superficial damage?
Yes, I would.
How much do you have?
I am damaged. I have 1, 2, 6.
6. Oh, all right. So, if you wish to heal that up, I'm going to need a rouse check.
Okay. Nope.
Nope as in you're not hungry, or a nope as in you didn't succeed?
I did not succeed.
Okay. The blood is boiling in your veins, and the humiliation that you feel from losing that fight stings. Your beast is growling and says, "We're gonna find that son of a bitch. We're gonna find him, and we're gonna show him what happens when you mess with Long Beach." But your arm does return to its original state.
Good.
Luther.
I can give Luther back his jacket.
All right. You're hoping to heal your gut up?
Well, I took 2 points of damage way back when we were fighting the werewolves, and I know that we had a couple weeks in between, but I never explicitly healed that. Would that have taken care of itself?
And well, any damage that you haven't. I'm sorry. When did you take that damage?
When we met the sheriff in the brawl in the streets before we took like a 2-week in-game hiatus.
So you would have to heal that stuff. If it's on your tracker, you do have to heal it. It doesn't just automatically fix itself.
Well, never did that. So I only had 2 health when we started this, and I took 7.
So what you're saying is your entire health tracker is filled with aggravated damage. So you can only heal 1 point tonight, and you have to make 3 hunger checks in order to do it.
Great. That's just great.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I want to try.
All right, just roll 3 dice. Tell me how many of them are successes, how many are failures.
3 failures.
Oh, goodness. Your hunger spikes. Your hunger increases by 3. And you can feel the beast inside you growling. It was supposed to be a grand story. It was humiliating. You were saved by a bruja. Everyone's going to be talking about that. No one has any respect for you. You should have just let me take the reins. I could have at least comported us with a little ferocity, a little intensity, instead of hiding behind this stupid vest. And your beast is not going to be quiet until you have drunk substantially. All right. Somber.
But I do heal 1.
Yes, you have healed 1 point of aggravated damage.
Great.
Meanwhile, I had only taken 3 points of superficial willpower damage. How do I heal that up?
That will heal automatically after a good night's sleep, or a good day's sleep, rather.
Beautiful. Love to see it.
All right. Is there anything else that you all wish to do before the boss Callahan arrives in Kansas City? All right. People start, Wheeler and the troops start letting people out eventually, making their way down into the lower decks, although not into the hold. Wheeler has apparently made it a strict rule that no one is allowed into the hold. And Gideon, if you do not seek her out, she's just going to corner you eventually. And she says...
Yeah, I just realized, I was supposed to talk to you. So, perfect.
She says, I want you to give me a single good reason why I shouldn't tell Mr. Vagoni about what I saw in the hold down there.
Because I will kill you right now without hesitation.
And you think that if Mr. Vagoni finds out that I didn't tell him about a kindred making a flesh wall in the hold of his ship, he wouldn't kill me?
He wouldn't, because I did it. Technically, I did it.
Give me an intimidation plus manipulation check.
All right. Oh, boy. Okay, this should be... I thought I had intimidation. I guess I'm wrong. Okay. Boy, howdy. 1 success.
Do you want to burn a willpower to re-roll?
I mean, the failed die was my hunger die, so I can't reroll anything else. There's only 2 dots.
1 success. Let me do a quick roll for Wheeler here. She's not a kindred, but she's not a pushover either. Also 1 success. Tie goes to the active kindred, and you are actively trying to intimidate her. So she looks at you hard, and she says, I give you 3 days. and then I'm going to tell him.
I'm going to need you to clarify. 3 days for what?
3 days. Oh, sorry, you broke up there just now, Ben. What did you say?
Oh no. Gideon had said, I told you I did it, and I can show you how I did it.
She says, I'm going to be honest with you, Gideon. I have never much liked you. I don't understand what benefit having you around gives us. And from what I understand from Mr. Vagoni, you're more of a target on her back than anything else. So I would recommend that you find somewhere else to dangle from the rafters instead of causing trouble like this. For all I know, those things were after you.
Then I'll make you a very sincere promise. If I fall, I'll take you with me, and I'll make sure I land on you too.
She glares at you for a little while longer, and then turns on her heel and makes her way back into the boat. You don't know if that 3 days threat was for real or not, but it's very clear where she stands. And with that, the boss Callahan makes its way into Kansas City, leaving the bodies behind, floating in the river. Although, by the look of it, you see helicopters flying past in the opposite direction. It has not gone unnoticed what has happened on board this boat. You dock in Kansas City, this place that you have been aspiring to arrive in for such a long time. Your various patrons stumble their way off the boat. Mortal patrons returning to their lives, some of them pulling out Yelp. Whether they have positive or negative things to say is unclear. But you know that you're not allowed to step foot off of this boat until you've been received by the proper authorities. And the proper authorities arrive in due course, when every mortal has left. There's two regular-sized people that approach. A very tall, thin, pale white man with spindly fingers running over a pocket watch in his hand. And walking next to him in combat fatigues, an African-American woman. Her hair is currently in a fro, and she's holding a pretty dangerous-looking gun. Walking behind them are two behemoths, each of them easily 10 feet tall. Their skin is a mottled gray color and is studded with bone in the same way armor is studded with leather. Their faces are an oddly triangular shape, and there are mandibles coming out of their mouths. And as they approach, the lead pale thin man, who you all know as Joseph Crawley, looks up, locks eyes with Luther, and says, Mr. Vagoni, what the fuck have you done to my ship?
It has been a night, Mr. Crowley. I do apologize for the damage done to the ship, but it was unavoidable, and we are very fortunate that it was not worse.
I see. And he looks everyone up and down. Well, this is a bit of a ragtag group that you've brought. I'm here to offer my welcome to Kansas City on behalf of Prince Ballard Rutledge and the rest of the Ventru clan. And I want to congratulate you on your admittance into the Kansas City Camarilla. I understand that you provided a service for one of the higher-ups in Lawrence.
It was just a trifle. It was the least that we could do.
I wonder if I might have a quick word with you and your valet, he says, pointing to Gideon, in private. Your bodyguards can feel free to make their way over to the limousine that I've procured. The prince has summoned all able-bodied kindred in the city to court. I do regret that you will not be able to change your garments, spruce yourselves up a little bit, but such is the price of Ventru supremacy.
Luther very much already changed in the brief moments that he had, because you don't just roll into a new city in a stained suit. Let's be honest here. I'm gonna give both Somber and Im sort of a quick look over, just to make sure that they aren't bristling too hard at their casual dismissal. The same with Gideon, and sort of get a vibe check on everybody, and give them the eyebrows with just, come on guys, just be cool. Just be cool.
Somber, I think, has been sitting / dancing along the railing of the Boss Callahan while they were waiting, because they got bored very, very fast. Insofar as they were like, ooh, I'm touching the ground. Oh no, I'm not touching the ground. You know what I mean? Like playing that little game, and they had sat down as the card pulled up. But I think at this point they have actually like sat down on the railing and look a little bit more distracted than they normally do. Like they actually are not very much paying attention to this conversation at all.
Very well. How's Em feeling?
She has been trying to keep it together as much as possible. I think with that last few words from Callahan, she's gonna look at Luther and say, "Oh, well, we'll be off, sir. Anything we can retrieve you when we meet back."
I will join you shortly. Thank you.
Always good to serve.
Luther is very suspicious.
Maybe we should have left him dead.
Well, if Em and Somber do make their way down towards the proffered limo, the two hulking flesh golems, along with the woman with the gun, will peel off to escort you over in that direction. The woman looks over at you, Somber, and Em, and she says, well, you both look like shit.
Thank you.
It's a rough night.
I can imagine. Well, either way, the name's Vera Edwards. I'm one of Sheriff von Reisel's hounds. I suppose I'm responsible for you, at least for the night.
I'm so sorry. She'll look at Somber and just kind of smile.
And Somber looks back at Em and goes, by hound, does she mean like that other thing? Or is this a different turn of phrase?
It's a title. Hounds are responsible for enforcing the sheriff's will. Sheriff von Reisel trusts me to do so.
Oh, so you're here to drive us around then, right?
Oh, I see. Just like us. I see. Right.
That's the relationship you have with Mr. Vigoni, I take it.
Yes.
She says, well, I hope that he is an easy person to work for. Please, there's blood bags in the coolers, and we'll be making our way into downtown as quickly as possible, as soon as Mr. Crawley has had his words with Mr. Vigoni and his valet.
Juice boxes.
They're all probably really fancy. You know how they are.
Yeah, but you know what I like, Em.
Yes.
And Summer pouts a little.
But it's on their dime. Might as well have some fun.
Might as well spill it on the seats, right? This looks like leather.
Shh.
Yeah.
Vera raises an eyebrow, but she doesn't make any attempt to stop you if you're going to eat messily. Meanwhile, Luther and Gideon, I assume the two of you have gone over to an area to speak with Crawley.
Yes, I'm debating whether... Yeah, I think we just go inside the main gambling hall on the first floor, where there is a table off to the side. Instead of going to an office or any place, I'm going to go for brevity.
I'd like to discuss clan matters with you, Mr. Vagoni. Those goons that were with me were Von Rassel's creatures. And I don't believe I can confidently speak openly in front of them. He's still not overly pleased about the prince's ascension to the throne, even 4 years after.
Certainly. I absolutely understand.
Do you? You understand the delicate position our clan finds itself here in Kansas City?
I believe I do. It's a tiptoeing act of balancing one side against the other.
Indeed. I'm so glad that you understand the balance, Mr. Vagoni. And so I would like to inquire, what in the hell possessed you to bring that thing back here? He says, looking over at Gideon.
What would you have me do? Would you rather I leave them unattended in Lawrence?
I would have you not return at all. I believe that when I handed their reins over to you, I made it extremely clear that their presence in Kansas City presented a threat to the balance of power. Our clan's dominance of this city is still relatively new, Mr. Vagoni, and I gave them to you with the express instruction that you were to remove them from the equation. And yet here you are. I crave explanation.
Mr. Crowley, I understand you feel a certain entitlement here on your own turf. However, I will not be spoken to in such a manner. I have found Gideon to be indispensable, and I will bring them where the fuck I want. I was invited here by powers beyond you, and I will bring my power to bear in this city, and the Ventru will rise. You can trust me on that. I would like to attempt to intimidate him.
Absolutely. I think, yes, that will certainly be charisma plus intimidation. He's got his own pool here.
Yeah, I'm you know, I might be outplaying my hand here, but we're gonna look. I've had a rough night.
Luther is down to his last nerve.
Oh boy, I'm also rolling with a lot of hunger dice, so this could go poorly. 4 successes.
It's almost imperceptible, but you see him take a slight step back. And perhaps because he's hoping for a weaker target, he finally acknowledges Gideon's presence. Turns toward them and says, "And what, pray tell, do you have to say for yourself, creature?"
My status is not my fault. If you have anything to say to me, say it to the prince.
You will keep even the prince's title out of your mouth while you are in this city. Are we understood?
It is very understood.
I am not interested in hearing about what is and is not your fault. If you believe in the blood that has been mistakenly placed in your veins, if you believe in our clan's cause, then you will understand the caution that is necessary.
I have been in the tower longer than you can ever imagine. I know subtlety. I know what to do. Just because you think my blood is ilk doesn't mean I'm stupid. Was that said plainly enough?
What is your purpose in returning here? I will not hear of you making any petitions directly to His Majesty.
I have a place to be, and I'm working towards it, just like any other king.
If I see you come within 10 feet of Prince Rutledge, I can assure you that I will bring all of the influence I have as Ventru Primogen down on your head. You will think your exile on that ship was a vacation compared to the places that I will send you to keep you away from him.
Again, I understand.
Mr. Vagoni, you will join your compatriots in the limo. The prince has summoned every able-bodied kindred in the city to address tonight's events. As the closest witnesses to what happened on that river, I expect that you will be important inclusions to the meeting. I urge you to keep in mind that the sheriff will attempt to silence you. Any indication that he is not keeping our city safe is an extreme threat to him. And the fact that he sent his goons with me to do this routine greeting indicates that he already believes you to be a threat.
Excellent.
Very well. Welcome to Kansas City. And much good may it do you. He's going to turn and stride out of the boat, leaving the two of you alone for the first time in a few nights.
Gideon, a moment before we join the others.
Of course.
I know the disdain that you hold me in. And I have to admit that there's a certain amount of disdain on my own hands. It's simply very difficult to overcome your affliction. However, I did mean what I said when I told that creature that you had become indispensable to me. You are a valued member of this coterie, and I will not allow others to take advantage of you if it is in my power to keep them from doing so. And I finish this with a vow that that creature will not remain in power for much longer.
Luther, that is a lot of words. And that's all we have is kindred words and promises. And while I want to accept this, know that I have doubts. But I thank you nonetheless.
I trust that actions will speak louder than words as the future grows nearer.
I would hope so as well. We shouldn't keep them waiting, especially with Somber and M together.
You are quite right. There's no telling what those two will get up to. I do hate to bring it up, but I think it wise that you stand back during these proceedings, especially if we are brought to the forefront.
And you would be right. As much as I hate the notion, you are correct.
However, from a certain vantage point, you will see more than the rest of us. And I trust your judgment.
And I will trust yours going forward.
Thank you. Shall we?
We shall.
And I believe with our kindred bound for the Kansas City court, very much out of the frying pan and into the fire, the wounds from their previous conflict with the werewolf still healing, is where we will end our vampire story. Now, looking forward to seeing you all again next week. Goodbye.